So we're more than halfway through 2021, and I'm starting to notice that when it comes to being productive, I'm starting to have difficulties. Um, for a while, I couldn't really figure out what it was. I was thinking that maybe your energy levels are down, or maybe you're burnt out, or something like that. But I remembered something from the psychology classes that I took back in my university days, and it was this idea of the psychology of spaces. To give you a general idea of what that involves, it basically, here, just picture yourself in your home, right? And you have certain tasks that you do at home, certain tasks that you also connect to certain rooms or certain parts of your home. Now, think about when you're outside of your home, perhaps at your place of work, or if you're in school, when you're at school. We do very specific tasks, and we tend to do the same tasks in those same places, and that creates a sort of connection between our brains, those activities, and those places. So, in essence, if you start to knock down those boundaries, which is, I think, what's becoming a bit more common because people are in quarantine, they're at home all the time, and the place where they do most of their relaxation suddenly becomes the place where they work. That can cause a lot of interference, cognitively speaking. Well, I'm no psychologist, but that's just my current theory used in the more colloquial and not scientific sense. So what I decided was that I wanted to create a new space. I looked at my current setup, and basically I use this desk to do my work. I use this desk to relax and game, and I use it to consume all sorts of media. And I think that that currently is the issue, that I do all sorts of activities in the same place that now my mind doesn't really attribute one activity or the other with that place, and so I'm less able to really sharpen my focus for that activity. Again, that's my current theory. So, what I've decided is I'm going to create a separate space for some of those activities so that I can try and save one area as a sanctuary for productivity. My plan was to set up a sort of a new table, so I went to r/battlestations for a bit of inspiration, motivation, and I saw a lot of great looking desks. So kudos to everybody who posts in there, all their beautiful, detailed setups. I also came across a video by Michael Tan on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this one. But despite all of those setups being so nice, I still knew that I wanted to just stick with something a bit cheaper. I didn't want to go into the full end game setup, end game battle station territory. I didn't want to shell out that kind of money. So I went to everybody's favorite frugal minded furniture place, IKEA. Looking at their website, there were two main tables that I was considering. There was the LINNMON at $29.99 Canadian, right over there, and there was the LAGKAPTEN at $60. When it came to these two tables, the main factor I was looking for was the width of the table. I wanted it to be spacious enough for me to set my monitor and all of my other peripherals down, so that I could kind of get that battle station aesthetic without the battle station price tag. And the LINNMON just didn't offer that, so that's why I looked mainly at the LAGKAPTEN, which is right there. Yeah. So at 140 centimeters, that's 40 centimeters more, 40% longer. That's what I ended up going with. So, having decided which table I wanted, I eventually went to my local IKEA, picked up the LAGKAPTEN 140 cm and the 4 ADILS legs, and it worked out to be about $60, but I had a gift card, so ultimately it didn't cost me anything. That was great. And I took it home, fairly easy to assemble. Don't have an assembly video, I didn't think to. And here it is. So, here it is. What are my thoughts? Well, Aesthetically, if I just saw a photo of this, I think it looks fine. I think it meets my requirements. Of course, you notice the cables are pretty messy. I would use some cable management system, so tying them together, adhering them to the desk to make it cleaner overall, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the desk itself physically and how all these pieces sit upon it. It looks fine. I don't have an issue with that. But as you can see from my facial reaction or my expression, I'm not entirely happy with this desk. So first off, I remember there's a show, I think People's Court, there's a Judge Marilyn or something like that, and she had a famous saying. She said that the cheap comes out expensive. As I say that, I realize that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that you get what you pay for, and $60 is, you know, it's an amount of money. It's not nothing at all, but in terms of furniture, it is on the cheaper end. I mean, the LINNMON was even cheaper, but $60 is not too bad. It's not that much, and I can feel that. So I think maybe you can see here. Let's put my headphone stand over here. Now watch this, okay? Let's say I start playing. Okay, now the camera itself is shaking, but the point I'm trying to illustrate here is that this desk is incredibly shaky, like ridiculously shaky. Like just by doing this here, you can even see the monitor vibrates. Look at, okay, now the phone is vibrating. Let me go. Let's do it like this. Yeah. Well, I don't know how well it captured that, but this shakiness is just, at least for me, it's not acceptable at all. I want the desk to be firm. I want to feel comfortable that I can put my stuff here and not wake up tomorrow and find everything to pieces. Now, realistically, that's not going to happen. I mean, I don't think the desk is going to collapse. But what I have heard is that people who have more elaborate setups, sometimes with these kinds of desks, they have encountered sagging. So because there is support on the four corners, those areas you can put more weight, but anything in the middle, like a monitor or even multiple monitor setups, that's going to cause some trouble. That's going to create sagging. Potentially the whole desk will bend, and that'll affect the longevity of the product itself. And part of the reason why the desk isn't that sturdy is because it's composed of a structured cardboard material. So if you have any cheaper IKEA desk and you've ever broken it open, or if you've ever seen a cross section of it, what you'll see is it looks like almost like a egg carton type of design, like a recycled egg carton. It's they call it structured cardboard, and it's like a honeycomb shaped pattern on the inside of this desk. So the desk is actually fairly hollow except for that little structure to give it rigidity, give it support. So that's why it's so light, and that's part of why this just feels so, for lack of better words, feels so cheap. So I'm not happy with this desk at all, and I do plan to send it back. Fortunately for those who are living in Canada, at least I can't speak on, I think the US also, but globally you'll have to check your own policies. But here we have a 365-day return policy, which is excellent. As long as you keep your receipt and all of that, you can return products up to 365 days after purchase. So I'm going to make full use of that policy, and I'm going to return the desk. I'm just not happy with it. I mean, aesthetically it looks right, but it just doesn't feel right, and I think that's a huge part of it. I want to feel like when I set out and decided that I wanted to create this space, the whole point is I wanted to sit down and I wanted to just feel happy with it. When I look at r/battlestations, of course they've spent several hundreds, probably even several thousands to create that kind of setup. I'm not going for something as elaborate, but I want to still invoke a similar feeling, that you sit there and you're happy with what you've created and you get to experience and enjoy in that space. So with that being said, I'll say this, sweating a bit on a heat wave. What I'll say is that the IKEA desks, I personally would not recommend them. If you're going to use this kind of desk for something like maybe somewhere in your home, you're going to lay some decorative pieces, you're never going to put weight, nothing too heavy on the desk, yeah, these will work. You could even get a LINNMON. It's even cheaper. It'll set you back, even less, $30 only, and you can put your decorative pieces. Maybe grandparents' house, they want photos, they want to put them on a desk. That's perfect for that. But for creating your entry into the battle station space, or creating a battle station of your own, I could not recommend this desk to anybody. So the search continues. Until next time.